everybody. How y'all doing? How you doing? Happy Saturday night. How your night going? I have the time has come, and we had and come to this point and everything else. I'd like to bring up the stage the one she being my side all my life. She has taught me a lot. She had been thick and thin with me, and I would like to introduce to you to YouTube and Facebook the one, the only, my mom. Hey,
Thank you. Hey, y'all.
hey, mom. Hey, mom. How you doing?
Thank you, Jarrett. You
Mm-hmm.
you have been asking me to come on for a while, and I'm glad to be here with you all tonight. But I really want to say to thank Dolores Martin and Ruby Garner, who are background people, for helping you uh, on this show. They are doing an awesome job, and I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of them for assisting you in this endeavor. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
uh, um, tell me about the what you um first thing first. Have you been back to Rupert?
No, we didn't finish that yet. Let me finish what I'm doing first, and then we'll
Okay.
go to that. So what I'm going to do is talk about some things growing up. Since this is Black History Month, I decided to come on. Jerry has been asking me to come on, and I felt this was a good time to come on because since this past Sunday, um, I wrote some notes down, so I will be looking down every now and then.
Hey,
But this
Tom.
past Sunday, Jarrett, my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, Jarrett and I, we were on our way from church. And somehow, I don't know how it came up, but I said something about when we lived in Florida. And she said, Grandma, I didn't know you all lived in Florida. And she said, there's a lot I don't know about my family. And the reason being is that her mother was married to my oldest son when they met in the military. They were divorced, and my granddaughter lived in Northern California with her mother. When she graduated from high school, she moved to Georgia, and I must say she has done an exceptional job since she's moved here. She's been exceptional. And my son is an exceptional father because he was very supportive of her when she was in California, and he would often fly out when she had a special occasion to be with her. So this is the reason why I'm here today. I wanted to talk about how we got to Florida, and I wanted to talk a little about my upbringing so that my other grandchildren, their children, and their children's children would know something about their grandmother and great grandmother because my mother is deceased, and there's some things that she told me that I have not passed on. And we need to pass things on to our younger generation so that they would know how we were raised and some of the hardships and some of the things that we overcame in our lifetime. So I was born in a town called Rupert. It's a small town, and it's located in middle Georgia. And I lived there until we moved to Florida when I was 13 years old. By we, I mean my mother. She was a single mom. And then I had an older brother and an older sister. There is really more of us to the story. However, I'm just going to focus about this today. Things that, and this happened in the late 50s and late 60s. If you're driving through Rupert, like I said, is a small town. If you blink your eyes, you will miss it because it is just that small. I rode the school bus to school, and school was about 10 miles away. We lived on a dirt road, and the bus came directly to our door to pick us up because we were the only ones around there for him to pick up. So you can say we had door-to-door service on the bus. The school that I attended went from the first grade to the 12th grade. It's not like it is now where you have kindergarten and you go up to pre-K and then you have up to third grade primary, then you have elementary, you have junior high, you have high. Our school was just one school, went from first grade through the 12th grade, and they had 3 wings. One wing, it went from the first through the 4th grade. Another wing went from the 5th to the 8th grade. And then the other wing went from the 9th through the 12th grade. And we didn't have a gym because we didn't have a basketball team. We didn't have a football team. We played outside on the swings and the merry-go-rounds and, just played outside. My mother, being a single mother, had to work. So when I was 5 years old, my mother put me on the bus one morning to go to school. And she sent me to school with my older brother and sister. They took me to one of the first grade classes. There was no pre-K, as I said, no kindergarten, no pre-registration back then. All you had to do was show up with your birth certificate, and they enrolled you in school. Now, my first grade teacher was named Miss Alberta McCreary. I remember her well. Miss Alberta would send notes home to my mother and ask her to send my birth certificate. My mother knew Miss Alberta and said she knows how old you are. My mother continued to send me to school, and throughout my first grade year, Miss Alberta would send the required notes home for my mother to send her my birth certificate, but my mother never did. At the end of the school year, I was promoted to the 2nd grade, so she still got no birth certificate, and by then I was in the 2nd grade, so she didn't need one. There were some great teachers at that school, and they all seemed to want the best for us and tried to expose us to things we did not normally get to do, being in a small country town. When I was in the 7th or 8th grade, I was a member of the school chorus. The music teacher submitted us to participate in a county-wide choral event. We rehearsed a lot in preparation for this event and even did a fundraiser so that all the girls would be dressed the same and the boys would have a matching tie. Now, I remember that dress well. They had little spaghetti straps, and we had a little jacket to wear with it, and it was like a light green color, and the guys had on a light green tie. When we got to the competition, we found out that we were the only Black school participating, and we had to stay on the school bus until it was time for us to sing. And after we sang, we had to get back on the bus and wait to see who won. We could not sit in the auditorium. We sang great, and the all-white audience even clapped loudly for us. We knew that we had sung better than the other schools because while we were on the bus, we could hear them singing, and we was like, oh, we were good. So we sat on the bus and waited for our director to come out. However, although we felt we did good, the all-white judges didn't think that way. Our chorus director told us that we were disqualified because they said that one of the 2 songs we sang was not an appropriate song for the event. According to our chorus director, there was nothing said to her about beforehand about what we could and could not sing. The song that disqualified us was Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, at that time, I did not know it was known as the Negro National Anthem. I found that out later as I got older. Some of you know, and some of you may not know, Lift Every Weldon Johnson. The lyrics of Lift Every Voice and Sing serves as it is said that the lyrics of Lift Every Voice and Sing serves as a reminder for Black Americans that each generation has had to lift their voices along with those within their community to demand and protect their human rights. And James Weldon Johnson's brother put music to the poem, and then the NAACP adopted it as the Black National Anthem. The words to Lift Every Voice and Sing says, lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Now, how do we get to Florida? That's what I was talking about, because my granddaughter asked me about that she didn't know we had lived in Florida. So the last house we lived in Rupert before moving to Florida was a 4-room house. There was a kitchen, a dining room, a bedroom, and a front room. Now, the front room was a room where we had a nice bed, a couch in there for visitors to come over, but we were not allowed to go in there until company came over. Now, I'm sure that, I'm not sure why we had a dining room, but there was a dining room, and we always ate Sunday dinner at the dining table. It was just a table and a cabinet that we called a safe. My brother, sister, and I slept in the same room with a fireplace in it. My mother slept in the bed in where I call the front room. We had no indoor plumbing. We used an outhouse. My mother would boil clothes in a wash pot outside and hang clothes up on a clothesline. We used a well to pump water. We did not have inside water. She cooked on a wooden stove, and I don't know how the temperature was controlled on that wood stove, but my mother was a great cook, and everything came out great. My mother had a plan, and as my pastor says, who is Pastor Mark Moore Jr., who is the pastor of one church in 3 locations in Atlanta, Georgia, she came up with a strategy, and he would say that you need a strategy when you're doing something. The year we moved, my mother asked the man whose house and land we lived on if she could be a sharecropper that year. And for those of you who don't know what a sharecropper is a person who uses the land that someone owns, plant crops on that land, tend to it, and then at the end of the season, pay off any bills to the owner and keep the remaining money. My mother also served as a maid for the family who owned the land. I don't think they felt she could do it. You know, during that time, no one would have thought she could do it. She worked in their house and also tended the crop. I don't know how much money she had left over after sharecropping, but as I look back, it probably wasn't that much. Because near the end of the crop season, I noticed that other Black people were coming to our house in the middle of the night and taking stuff from the house. Houses were far apart. Only a few people had cars, maybe 1 or 2, and the tractor. These were Black people, or a horse and a wagon, and some even walked to our house. Slowly, as people came to our house, my mom was letting them take items from our house. She told us not to tell anyone that we were moving. So one night she called Big Dude. His name was Big Dude, and Big Dude was the cab driver. He sat at the bus station because that was the only way people came to our town. There was no train or plane or anything. So he owned a cab, and he would be at the Greyhound bus station for any Black people who came to town and needed a ride. So he came in the middle of the night, 10 miles, and took us to the bus station. We only had some clothes because my mother had sold everything in the house or given away everything that was in the house. So we only had clothes. And I remember my mother took also a portable sewing machine. I'm not sure why she took that sewing machine. And that was the only thing that was with us. And we got on the bus and we left for Florida in the middle of the night and moved in with my mother's great aunt in Florida. So that's how we got to Florida. So I want to leave you with this this evening. My mother never went into details about our move, but I think she felt trapped and wanted better for her children. Black people were free, but I don't think she felt free. I think one day my mom said, I need to change my circumstances, just like Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. And she came up with a plan, with a strategy on how to get out of the seemingly hopeless circumstances she was in. It may mean for you, if you are in a circumstance that you're trying to get out of, maybe you need to move to another town or another state, or change your job, change your career path, change your friends. And I think that's what was on my mother's mind when we moved to Florida. She had to get out by any means necessary. So, but for the decision my mother made and the things she taught me, none of what we have today, my children, my grandchildren, would be if we had stayed in that small town. So that's my message to my children and my grandchildren. Thank you for having me, Jarrett.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up. Have you been back to Rupert since you all left?
Yes, I think we went back maybe 20 years after we moved to Florida, and then we moved back to Georgia in 1971, I think it was. We left Georgia in the middle 60s, 63 or 64, somewhere along there. And we came back to Georgia in 71. And we did go down to Rupert, went through there, and we stopped and saw some people. And we still had some cousins who lived there. So we stopped by their house to see them. So yes, we did go back.
You said it was a small town. What was the population of the town that you originally lived?
Like I said, it was small. Now I looked up the population a while back, and it said it was close to 800 people. It was 700 and something, close to 800 people in that small town. So, but when I lived there, it probably was far less than that. I'm thinking, but it did say that it was close to 800. I think a little over 700 there.
What kind of car did you go on grew down there?
I think the crop that she did, I think it was cotton. But I do remember she took me to the cotton field once, and that was before she became a sharecropper. And I picked cotton, and you only got 1 penny per pound. So for an entire day, I picked, I think it was 90 pounds of cotton. So cents for all the day's work that I did. Now, my mother would pick up to like 500 pounds, meaning she would make $5 a day for being in that hot sun, just carrying those cotton sacks on her shoulders and stuff as a woman. And so she would make like $5. And I remember one time she took me out there, and I was complaining, the sun is hot, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. And so she said, okay, I'm sending you to school. I'm not keeping you out anymore because you're holding me up from doing my work. So she sent me to school. So that was the last time I was in the field helping her pick cotton.
I remember what you said about we had to leave in the middle of the night. Do you know what time you had to, like, when you left middle of the night going down to Florida when all the crazy was happening back then?
You cutting out. I didn't hear you. You're cutting out.
I said, do you remember what time in the middle of the night when you trying to move out of Georgia to get out of the mountains to get down to Florida?
I'm not sure what time it was. All I know it was dark. It was at night, so I'm not sure. It was probably at least midnight to get us to the bus station.
So grandma had to tell you like, get up, put your clothes on, and we leaving out of here. Don't touch nothing. You just left. Okay.
Just left. Yes.
What
Hmm.
were you were you were you like scared or nervous when grandma was telling you when y'all leaving, when y'all going down there?
I don't think I don't I don't think I was. I don't remember back that far, but I don't think I was afraid of anything. Um, Probably afraid of the unknown. I probably was as a young girl. I probably was afraid of the unknown. But I'm glad she did make that move because, as I said, we probably would have still been there. Life would have not been the same. You would not be here if we had stayed because I never would have met your father. Just things that I'm glad that things happened the way they did um, because it made it better. I think we have a better life, and I think you know that you have a better life because of the decision that your grandmother made.
I'm I know it's like I know we haven't taught Black history in school, but I know we need to talk these things in school because it's a lot of stuff. But was it? I mean, when you said the the black kids were not, you were not able to stay in the auditorium, but were y'all in the on the bus all together, or were you on the bus when you had when y'all finished singing, and did you get when y'all did they give you the reason why you would get disqualified of the concert?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was the song that we sang. Remember, I said it was the song that we sang, "Lift Every Voice and Sing." They said that it was not appropriate for the competition, but they had not told our choir director that there were certain songs that they didn't want sung, so we didn't know that. Um, so yeah.
So tell me why I know back then it said you had to go to separate restaurants, some separate bathrooms. Tell the people why that back then you had to go to separate things where you can't do now.
Skin color had nothing to do with anything except you were a black person and you were inferior to them. They were superior. White people were superior to us, so they didn't want us in the building with them. They didn't want us using the water fountain. They didn't want us at the restaurants or anything. So that's why we won't get into
Okay,
anything else on
I
that.
don't, um it's, it's like
But
what is it?
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. So we can talk about this on another show if you want to.
If y'all have any
But
questions for my
I've
mother,
enjoyed it.
if you have any questions for my mom, please type it in for her. So you got for Black History, and if you do, go ahead type it in. If you don't, I would glad that my mom got a chance to come on my channel for the first time and everything else. So if y'all got any questions for my mom, please go ahead type it in. So,
All right. Thank you, Jared, for inviting me.
so,
I don't understand that question. I don't understand that question.
how was it leaving? Oh,
I don't understand that question.
If you want to come up, Lloyd, and ask her what was the question you're asking. Oh.
She's on mute. Dolores, you're on mute.
Yeah, I had to put myself in the corner. But Twitter fingers, I was going too fast. How was it living with Jarrett? Because Jarrett told us that you gave him the name Jarrett Talks because he talks a lot. So we all wanted to know how it was living with Jarrett.
Yeah, Jarrett likes to talk, and I just sit here and listen. And I think one of the reasons is that Jarrett and I are together all the time because I have to be with him all the time because, as you all know, Jarrett had meningitis when he was 9 months old, and he had seizures when he first came home, and then they weaned him off of his seizure medicine, and then but several years ago he started having seizures again. So I have to be with him 24 hours a day. I can't leave him by himself because he might have a seizure. And so we are together 24 hours a day. So he likes to talk and I just listen to him. So, I guess he wants somebody else to talk to other than me. So I'm glad he has this show so he can talk. So yeah, he talks a lot. He likes to talk.
Anybody else have any questions for her? For me and my mother, since we on here together, you got any questions for us? If not, let's see. Let me think more. Hey, Pandy, how you doing? And oh yeah, I'm thank you for coming. If you have any questions for me or my mother, and she, this is one of the good things that I have heard on my channel. So you have any questions for my mom? She had more now than I do about my life, but yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead. About Black history, or is she about what she how she started her life, everything. So if you got any questions, let my mom know. And if not, I'll go ahead. I will end the live. So you got any more questions?
Okay. Thank you, Jarrett, for having me.